Well, welcome back for part 2 of the interview with Mehgan and Chad Pinnigus. We are diving into apparently why I cannot keep a secret, which is a lie. I know about a few pregnancies right now that are not supposed to be announced.
Well, why didn't you keep my secret, Emily?
Because I did not want the surprise spoiled. Basically, we were hanging out one day. Were we getting our nails done or something?
No, I remember exactly where we were. We were in TJ Maxx and we were in the dressing room.
Yep.
And go ahead.
You were like, I have a secret. And long story short, Chad was talking to Megan's mom on his phone. And Chad was like, fix my phone, Megan. It's broken. And so they were talking. Megan saw a text basically saying,
being nosy.
Oh my gosh, the proposal's about to happen, yada, yada. And she was like, I know that Chad's going to propose to me. Wasn't it supposed to be at the beach? It was
With
like a
my
family beach trip.
Yep.
And I was just like, we have to tell Chad. Like, she knows everything. And she's like, I already picked out my outfit, my nails, all the things. And I was just like, James, what do I do? Because I always tell James everything. The two become one with this one. So I told him, and we were like, Megan's away on a girls' trip. I can't remember where you were. You were with maybe your mom and sister or something?
No, I was with all my friends because we had gone to TJ Maxx for me to find an outfit for that weekend.
Okay. Yes. So she was gone. It was just Chad. And we were like, yo, Chad, let's go get some dinner.
Yep.
Before Chad was he had all his heart set on making it a surprise. And that was like the one thing he was like, we're going to make this a surprise. She's not going to have any idea.
Yep. So I got invited to Small Batch for a night of dinner.
Which
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. But I did find out Bentley's, which is a new restaurant on Bedford Avenue, does have the wings for a Small Batch.
Ooh.
Well, that was the best thing there. So.
With the ranch.
Exactly.
Well, actually, don't fact check me on that. I don't know if it's 100% the ranch.
with the ranch.
Yeah, you just got my
I love
hopes up.
ranch. The ranch was good with the wings.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
This is not a podcast about wings. Anyways, back to the story. So we met Chad at Small Batch, and we were like, Chad, we have a secret to tell you.
Very nervous. Y'all were very nervous.
You started to cry before we could even get it out.
All right. I didn't cry.
No, but you were tearing up.
I was
and
upset.
what did you think, Chad?
So I thought that my wife,
Girlfriend.
the mother, girlfriend at the time, now the mother of my child and my wife, was cheating on me.
We did.
The
we
way
sat
they
him down.
worded it and the way they were kind of just acting very weird, it made me think that she was cheating on me and they were going to be loyal friends and tell me. But
Loyal friends, just not the news.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
So then we discovered, and actually I'm just realizing your birthday's coming up, not to date this episode, but we went to the Biltmore for your birthday.
Yes, it
Yep.
was.
So we're coming up on 4 years.
4 years.
And so he was like, well, let's just
So we've been friends for 6 because I feel like we were friends at least a year and a half before we did this.
When
I
there's
don't know.
so,
I'm terrible with dates.
There's
Wow,
so much
James.
backstory to like
Anyways.
our
Yeah.
friendship,
Yes.
Mega Wego.
JCP.
Anyways, yeah, JCP. So I'm sorry, people hate inside jokes. I'm sorry.
Yes.
It is an inside joke. But anyways, but yeah, no, we planned the trip to the Biltmore, and yeah, that's how it all got started. And yes, I did know about it, and I did spill
She
that.
told me.
Take the
She
secret.
said Megan knows.
But
she
now,
found out.
now that all this has happened, would you have rather us not tell you and it not be a surprise?
You know, I do. I loved like how it went down, but I don't like. I am such a planner that I
Better
don't
watch
think
it.
it would have made it wouldn't have taken away from me knowing, just because either way I was excited. But I'll appreciate that I was surprised. So I guess yes. But
And also just flashing back to when we got our nails done, because it was again for headshots.
yes.
And I was like, Megan, we need to get our nails done. And then you were trying to pick your nail polish, and I can't remember what I said, but I was like, it's a very special color. You should take your time.
You're gonna remember this for a lifetime.
And
But it was like about the
She was
trip.
just like, these are just headshots, so we can update. I'm like, no, you won't update these ever.
I should have known then.
And they
Oh
turned
my
out
gosh.
great.
No,
It
they
was
did.
such a beautiful spot.
It was
And
beautiful.
fun fact, if you're on TikTok, I think you shared it too on your TikTok.
I did.
If you want to watch it live, not me dropping my phone, but the actual proposal.
I wish we had that.
I wish we had that.
It's posted on both of our
It
TikToks,
is.
I believe.
It is.
So anyways, getting back to wedding planning, all the things, I want to talk to you guys about how you picked out your vendors, like what your thought process was behind your selections, not necessarily like specifically who you chose and why, but like going through the process of picking, photography, venue. There we go. So I guess my question was, did you guys, look for anything on the website? Were you looking for pricing? Were you looking for certain packages listed? Like, what were you looking for when you went on websites?
I would say like I first figured out my categories of like most important because I knew like some of those things you have to get so far in advance that half the people that you could want are probably already booked. So that was my first step was like, okay, these are like my top choice A people. And the way I got there was really word of mouth / Instagram, social media is a big factor to it. I think social media has like the biggest factor even before the website because you're usually finding them on social media first. For me, that's how I felt. Then going to their website, if they have like a janky website.
Define janky.
If I can tell it was like a pre-made Wix template.
Yeah, you were pretty not in a bad way, but judgy on websites just because
Yes.
you used to design websites.
Yes, exactly.
for your-
That is true.
Yeah. So for me, if I went to somebody's website or even their social media, like it should be a good depiction of like who you are as like an artist basically because that's your work. And so I feel like that was my biggest thing. Second was how easy it was to find information because sometimes it's just annoying if you have to like fill out the forms a million times, but it is what it is. I get why people don't, because sometimes it's not like a streamlined price. So I get that. So if it was an easy communication process, that was another plus for me. So if I got, a message back fairly quickly, then those are the people that I'm looking into faster than the people who are taking forever to respond back or I just can't find any information.
I think definitely with people not responding back.
Yeah, because we had a lot of people.
Was that a thing?
It was a thing.
Like we had a few vendors that we were like, yes, that's who we're going to
This is who we
use.
want.
We want them. They were very like well known. People love them. We were willing to pay the money for it, but we just never got good communication from them. So we decided
they would message us and then you wouldn't hear anything for like 2-3 months.
Yeah, so we just decided to go somewhere else because we're like, we're not going to wait that long. Like we have to get everything going. But I would say like your website, social media, very important.
Communication.
In communication. So
Well, and you said they got back quickly. Can you define, like as a vendor, in my mind, I make up the story of like how fast I should be in responding. And are we talking like within 10 minutes? Are we talking 30 minutes, a day?
I would say within 48 hours.
Okay.
I would
Cool.
say 24 to 48 hours, I should have a response back.
Okay.
If I don't have a response back, I'm going to go somewhere else.
And that depends. Like if you're going to message them at 8 p.m. on
Yes.
Thursday night, then
or like on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Like I understand you're at like a wedding. But if it's like on a Monday at like 9 a.m. and you don't respond to me till like the following Sunday, like I've probably already like, because I feel like when you get in you have different types of brides. I was a very like type A bride where I was like, got to get everything, done. So I feel like, if I'm waiting that long, I've already moved on to, unless it was somebody I really, 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 really wanted, because I've just heard about them, I've heard about their work, then I would probably budge like a little bit more on that. But I feel like if I am having a million options, then the people who are responding back and already setting up like, oh, like a virtual call or an appointment or something like that, like I've already had those set up, I'm more inclined to go meet with them quicker.
Well, in the like interview process, I'm just, curious, did you do a lot of phone calls? Was it just emailing back and forth? Did you do any video calls with vendors to kind of ask the questions and kind of be more personal before booking them?
It was a good mix. I feel like the stuff that was like a little more hands-on was in person. Like my food, I met with her in person. Our situation was different because we knew you. We knew we wanted to use you guys. But like we still met and talked about it.
Yeah.
And then also our florals. Like I actually went to the shop and I, picked out and talked and did all of that. So actually going to vendors, I did a lot of that. And this was like before COVID had happened. So we were still like meeting. But once COVID happened, everything after like, you know, that nitty gritty, like getting down to it, it was all like virtual.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I guess I was just thinking of another question. When you were looking at vendors, did you look for reviews? Were you just looking for like feedback from friends, or were you looking on their website? Maybe even like searching Google reviews, or, you know, where did you look for reviews, like the Knot, Wedding Wire, stuff like that?
I think it's a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah, I felt like a lot of it was word of mouth. But I did see stuff on like Facebook or I would say even like, I guess like on my vendors that I've used before, like they would tell me people like they liked, and then you'd get other people through that. And then, so I guess a lot of it was word of mouth for us. But we did see stuff online too. Like I would do my own research after I heard about it, word of mouth. And that ties back into like your presence online. Like if you have a good presence online, then, you know, you're obviously doing like a good job. You know what I mean? Because you're getting consistent, like, I wanted to say clients, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Couples and stuff like that.
So when you guys were looking at vendors, tell me, what were some red flags that you guys had? You don't even name names. It just doesn't matter what vendor it was. Just share some red flags you had.
Yeah, I feel like one of our biggest red flags is going to a vendor's like Instagram page and it being all styled shoots. Like it doesn't feel authentic. I feel like some are fine just to kind of showcase, you know, some of those like different fun, like different things that you can, but it's never really realistic to me. And I feel like for other brides, it could be like somebody who isn't in the industry or doesn't know that much could think that they're going to get that because that's so like structured and styled. And then what they get could be completely different because a styled shoot is very like, you know,
there's a lot of time that goes into doing the
to
flat
look
lay
good because it's supposed to look good. So, I mean, yes, definitely for like, it could give brides like ideas of what they would want for their stuff. So they could get some other options for their flat lays or stuff like that, or ask their photographer or their videographer, do you have stuff to recreate this? But I would say that would be like a red flag for me. Another thing would be probably not having like as much information on their website because I would want to be able to go to the website and know at least like all my like top 5 like bullet points, like who they are, some of their pricing, where it starts, at least where it starts, because I feel like if it's not in your budget, then why waste their time? Why waste your time? And do you have any that you kind of think of?
No, you're kind of.
Well, and actually, I just thought of another question since you just said that. As a vendor, I'm curious what your response would be to this. What if you're getting married at a venue I've always wanted to photograph, and my price that starts at is just outside of your budget, and you don't inquire with me? Maybe I would have gone down to meet your budget. Then we don't have the opportunity. Like, what is your thoughts on that? Because that's my side of the, you know, the fence of looking at it that way. For me putting my starting price, it kind of, you know, it may be missing out.
Well,
you know?
I think that something that would help me as a bride maybe think of that is if you have somewhere on your website, you know, places you've always wanted to shoot, or places like your favorite places to shoot, or different like lists, so that like if I were to be researching on your site and I saw that, then maybe it would spark something in my head to be like, okay, she might be a little outside of my budget, but let me just reach out and see, you know, where it's at. And when I say outside of budget though, like if it's within like 1,000, I feel like I would still reach out just to see, you know, what we're working with.
If it's worth it,
if
kind
it's
of thing.
worth it. If it's like significantly
Like
over budget,
multiple thousand.
Like if your budget's only like 1,000 and they're like
There's not gonna be
6,000,
much
there's
wiggle
not
room.
wiggle room there.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's just realistic. You just have to be like, okay, is this realistic? Can I splurge in this area and like, you know, go from there? So, but I would say having that information on the website would help me decide that.
Gotcha. Well, and, you know, if you're a bride listening to this now, even, if you do have a vendor you've always wanted to work with, it may be a good idea to
Reach out.
reach out to them and share like, hey, this is why I want to work with you. This is where I'm getting married. Like, would you have any exclusive, I don't want to say deal or discount because not everyone, and it's a hot take in the vendor world, is like you don't discount your work and your time.
Yeah.
But I feel like I do miss out on like really decent people because at the end of the day, I don't really care where you get married. I love working with decent human beings that want to have a fun wedding day and prioritize marriage, like literally like everything you guys embody. Like I just want couples like y'all.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
but
don't
even
think
even too with the whole vendor side of things, there is a price tag you can put on expanding your portfolio. Like if you have always wanted to shoot at a certain place, like if we ever got an inquiry for Scotland, that's worth taking a discount or whatever you want to call it to get that in your portfolio.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Or like working in your budget where it's going to be beneficial for you and the bride,
yeah.
And I don't think all the time that vendors have to put their whole like price sheet on their website because sometimes that helps them for people. I mean, it's just more work for the vendor because you're going to get everybody reaching out, seeing what your pricing is. So I see the benefit of not having that, but I also would like as a bride to have as much information as possible.
Right.
So that I can decide if you are even going to be a good fit for like right off like surface level.
Well, and to that, like another reason from like a vendor side, since we're talking about this, another reason I don't share literally all of our packages is because, nothing against anyone in my industry, but I want to stand out. I know what I offer is different from other photographers and I want to keep that like ace in my car, my hand, and so to speak. So that's another reason why, because, I know friends that have had the issue of they've been copied. So that's another reason why we don't. But no, those were all really great. I really appreciate you sharing the red flags. So let's move on. We kind of talked a lot about your wedding in part 1 and now here in part 2. I want to get some more questions about maybe like after marriage, because I know as a photographer, I love the pretty details, choosing the color scheme, theme, all the things. I love it. But at least for James and I, we really do like prioritize marriage. We do marriage coaching ourselves. We know how important it is to have a beautiful, beautiful wedding, but then also plan for the marriage. So this next part, I would really love to hear from both of you. We'll just start with this one question of what is one of your favorite moments so far? I know you're only 3 years in, or almost 3 years in. What is a favorite memory you have being married?
I mean, obviously, I don't think I could sit here and say that it wasn't like us having Gray, because that was just like the best part of our 3 years of marriage, because kids truly do like complete you. And I think that they're just, I don't know, they're just such gifts from God. And so we love him so much. So I think that's just been like the biggest moment in our marriage so far, obviously. But outside of that, I feel like just being able to just like do
watch
life
each other,
together,
watch both
and
of
grow.
us and grow. Like seeing the growth of like just a very healthy marriage. I'll be very outspoken, with my faith and with Megan's faith. I think that's top of why we've seen the beautiful growth in our marriage and where we are in our life. And I think that's, I would say, outside of Great James being born, would be the growth and just watching us bond together. Do we have arguments? Yes, but arguments are good. You got to have those every once in a while. You got to keep everybody on their feet.
Yeah, and I think just seeing each other like succeed in life too. It doesn't even have to be like, jobs. It can just be in general, just like personal growth too. Seeing that is just so much more like special when you're in that marriage, covenant. Because I just feel like it's just a different type of relationship, I feel like, once you're married, because you really truly want the best for each other and you want each other to keep growing. You don't want to
it's a
plateau.
job. You have to work at it every single day.
You do.
Together.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Like marriage is very hard, but it's really rewarding.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so great. Oh my gosh, I'm like getting a little teary-eyed just knowing you and your story and all the things. So that was really cool. Well, I thought of another fun question. Since we're talking about marriage and you went to, and we have fights still. What is a pet peeve that each of you have? I'm curious now. Do y'all have a pet peeve?
I already know Megan's.
Oh, man.
I'll let you go first, Chad.
Well, you can go first. You can go first.
Okay, I have a couple.
Just a couple.
One is when Chad eats, he's very loud. Like when I say loud, like it's
Like James eating corn.
yes.
Oh my God.
Okay, yeah. Side note: if you haven't seen James eat corn, ask it. Like just go out. Just ask Emily to go out to dinner. Ask them both. And
Yeah, we'll go out to dinner.
Order-
A whole episode on
Double
James
date.
eating
order
corn.
coin. Actually,
my
yeah. Let's
gosh,
just
a
do
whole
an episode.
just on loop of him
Yes.
eating.
Yeah.
We
What
need
is
a
this, like
TikTok.
some ASMR
Find a TikTok on Emily's profile of him eating corn.
Oh my god,
That's what we want.
If enough people DM me wanting a video of this one eating corn, I will provide.
It's worth it.
I'm gonna go ahead and do that now.
It's worth it.
all of them. Chad.
Y'all are gonna organize like a campaign.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Hey,
But no, I would say he just is very loud when he eats.
all right, Chad. What about you?
You can be honest. Go ahead.
Let's be honest.
Let's be real.
A pet peeve would probably be when Megan is in her element on social media or on her phone, and I'm talking to her, and she's not listening.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, always.
I'm feeling called out.
And
on
you know
that a
what's
little bit.
funny? Because I just the other weekend, her parents were saying the same thing.
Yep.
She'll be on
It
social
is
media,
hard.
or she'll be writing a text message, or whatever it may be.
But can I say, probably a text message that Chad has asked me to text somebody else that he is asking me to do. And he's like trying to talk to me.
She might be right on that one.
Yes.
But if it's not a text message
No,
and you're just
I
scrolling
can
through
say
TikTok or Instagram or social media and you ignore me, it is frustrating.
It can be addicting.
James has no idea what that is. So
No, that is a classic thing. I'll be saying something, and then she just looks up from her phone. What? I'm sorry. Could you repeat that whole thing? I know you were just talking for 5 minutes straight.
don't talk for 5
Can
minutes.
I add
I
to
get
this?
bored.
Can I add to this? It's the opposite. Megan is listening. She's just not responding back to me.
Oh my gosh. Well, at least she's
And
listening.
it's true because at the
No,
end I
it's
can repeat back exactly what he said, and
Yeah, I
that makes
can't
him
do that.
even more mad
No.
because he's like, "You weren't listening to me," and then I'm like, "Yes, I was. You actually said this," and he said, "So you're actually just not responding to me."
Okay, I could see how that's a little infuriating.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
Emily just completely no idea what I said.
No, you know what's happening? Because in my
What?
brain, you know
What?
the meme where it's like the guy's like on the chalkboard and there's so many things running around like in the sky. That's me internally all the time.
Me too, though.
Like I
feel
have so many browser tabs up in here just rolling.
You have so many browser tabs. You used to get on me all the time about how many browser tabs. I have 4 Chrome windows open right now with about 15 tabs each.
Yikes.
You have 100 tabs open in one window.
I have
Whoa.
them
That's
sectioned
me,
off
Emily.
though in like the little tab group. We're on
how
Rabbit
do you
Trail.
even keep that
Anyways,
going?
I do. I label them. I do. It looks impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
What's your Enneagram?
I am a 3, or well, technically I'm a 1 wing 2. So I'm the perfectionist that loves to help people.
I can see that.
But I'm also have slight 3 with the achiever. So I want to
I'm a
get,
3.
I want to like do things to like the best I can do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
That was a good question. All right, back to the regularly scheduled program. Is that the phrase? All right, so in case you didn't know, we love taking breaks in the podcast. One for our cameras, swapping batteries out, all the things. But in this past break, you may notice we have a new member to the mic, and his name is Gray James. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can take in all of the milky stash we got going. He is enjoying his bottle before bed as we finish filming this podcast episode.
Yeah.
So you might hear a little cooing, and that
little
would
coo.
be baby Gray James.
Maybe a little burp.
Maybe a burp here and there. Yeah.
It was actually James, but
Hey, don't rat me out.
So we have kind of shifted our conversation to really the most important part about all of this, which is the marriage. What would you tell a couple that is wedding planning right now? Maybe they're having one too many arguments and they're like questioning, should they actually get married? And they're like, no, we do love each other. It's just a really hard time wedding planning. What would you share with them as something they could do to, limit maybe the fights or like work through it better? Like what are your thoughts on this?
I would say Personally,
No, I'm just joking. That was a joke.
I would say personally going to like some type of premarital counseling really helped Chad and I work through all of the things, because I feel like, it's a whole new world for both of you. You've both been, having to just worry about yourself, and now you're having to come as one, especially with like wedding planning, and then thinking what's going to happen after the wedding, maybe probably moving into a new house or like a new state or whatever it might be. So I felt like premarital counseling really helped like our relationship, really trying to like dive in and open up more. So
Yeah.
100% marriage counseling is I would even, it has to be done.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
in a way.
I don't think it's like, I think it's like a non-negotiable for like us.
Because
now
you have
that we've
so
done
much
it.
going on all at once, and then at the same time, like you're putting together two families too. Two different families from two different sides, from two different backgrounds. So you get to kind of learn a lot of that about that.
Yeah. Well, and I guess another question would be, what is one piece of advice you would have for the type A brides, so girls that are just like you out there wedding planning? What is one piece of advice you would give them as they are starting this planning journey?
I would say to not overthink it too much, because anything that you want to do, you could potentially find. So once you find something that you like stick with it and just keep going to the next thing. Because I just remember I could spend hours on Pinterest trying to figure out like the next best thing over something that I already know I love. So just keep with what you love, keep going. And it's going to just cause more stress on you if you try to add too much. Because I remember getting down to the nitty gritty. I was like thinking of all these ideas of like, oh, well, I should do this and I should do this and I should do this. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Right?
But no, like just... just trying to like limit how many options you're giving yourself. So
He's just like his dad, eating loud.
Yeah.
That is true, Jane.
Oh my gosh.
you get it honestly, that's for sure.
Well, I love that. Well, I have really just enjoyed having y'all on the podcast today. I hope everyone else has enjoyed learning from, all that you guys have gone through with your wedding planning, and now newly married, new parents.
Yes, new parents.
New parents, as you can see.
Yep.
You got a wild man.
Did you want to say hi? What do you have to say? Okay.
Give me my milky.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show.
No,
Really
thank
do
y'all.
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it.
you for having us.
Absolutely.
We're
Been
so
fun.
grateful for you guys too, just as like our friends, but also you are our vendor. So we just appreciate all the work you guys put into it, because it was definitely noted for sure.
Yeah, we
Well,
get to
thank you.
kind of see both ends. We get to see, how much work y'all do put into
Yeah.
it. Where a lot of other
true.
people don't.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of work. And, people don't really
It's not just the wedding day.
Yep. Right,
a
Greg?
Yeah, Gray agrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just grateful for y'all coming on as the first interview for the podcast. I know we didn't get to talk about it much today, but we are going to have you back on the show, because I want to hear all about the Golden Honey and you opening your store. Do you want to throw a little shameless plug here?
Yeah. So Chad and I always like to say Chad too, because it is a family thing. We are opening a men's and women's boutique called The Golden Honey. Gray, you're involved too. But it's going to be men's, women's apparel, home decor, accessories, gifting items. But it's going to be really cool, because we just have put a lot of work and effort into the design and what it's going to look like and the products that we're going to be carrying. So I definitely want to come back on, because I know we had kind of talked about a few ways that it can, cater to photographers, vendors with how to style people for engagement shoots of what they should wear.
Oh my gosh.
And stuff like that. So definitely that would be so fun to come back on and we can talk all the things.
Yes. Honestly, one of the biggest questions I get from couples when they first book with us is yay, we get an engagement session, but what do we wear?
Yes.
And I'm not the best with fashion. I really am not. And I accept that. And that's why I have friends like you in my life that tell me don't shop at JCP. You need the golden honey.
Yes, you need
Got
the
some
TTH.
exciting things
Yeah, we have
coming to
very
Lynchburg, Virginia.
exciting
Yeah.
things to Lynchburg. So we're hoping, we're under construction right now. We're hoping to be open sometime in August. So that's kind of the goal right now.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks so much for being on the show again.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast interview, let me know by leaving a review. Also, as we shared on social media, definitely share, and they'll be back on the podcast. Maybe even
For
Gray.
sure.
Great.
Hey, James.
What do you think, Gray?
You want to say something, bye?
That was great. Oh, we had a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to come back on.
We'll have to have them back on then.
Just a whole podcast of him.
Just
with
that.
you.
Just that noise.
He's like,
It's like mom ASMR.
Honestly, I'd probably watch it.
Subscribe.
Subscribe now.
Like and subscribe.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
thank you.